Great. So we're now doing a TADSummit Preview with Shafraz, who heads up evangelism at Dialog Axiata Ideamart. So welcome, Shafraz. It's great you're able to join us.
Definitely, it's been a pleasure, and thank you, Alan, for invitation. And this has been a privilege for me being for TADSummit Preview.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So would you provide a brief history of Ideamart? How did it start and how big is it today?
Yes, we actually had a very humble beginning back in 2012 when we started off with Ideamart. And to be honest, no one thought that we'll grow into leaps and bounds by now. And no one believed that we could come this far. So we started off with about 10 to 15 developers, and now we have grown up to about more than 7,000 service providers across Sri Lanka, and some other foreign partners as well. So to give you a small briefing about Ideamart's history, so we started back in 2012 as a small initiative by Dialog, and from there onwards we started with only about a few couple of APIs with SMS, USSD, and charging. With those APIs we were managed to have few applications, about 20-25 applications by that time, because APIs to new development to innovations, those were not quite popular in Sri Lanka. So what we had to do was get ourselves into the ground and talk to people, get people to build and develop applications on top of the platform to create stuff. And we actually reached a milestone in 2015 where we became the best technology enabler at Global Mobile Awards. It's purely because of the ecosystem that we have built. So back in the day, we only had about 1 to 2 people service, or 1 to 2 people of staff we had. So we managed to pull it off from the ground, and now we have about 20 people working towards the success of Ideamart, and it's providing service for 7,000 plus service providers.
Excellent. No, that's amazing growth over that period. And also, the team's grown so much. I remember those days when it was a couple of people, and then we've grown to 4 people. We've doubled in size. It was like, I remember, they sort of delighted that sort of growth, and now 20. That's amazing to see such a rapid growth.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just moving on, in building Ideamart, what have been your biggest challenges?
Yeah, to be honest, with Ideamart, there were a couple of challenges that we had to face. First thing is to get people into this concept of API management, service delivery platforms, that a telco trying to disrupt the technological arenas, and to get people to say, hey, look, you obviously can make use of these APIs, and you could create services, build new services, get people to use a completely different vast service, completely different from a vast service, and you also can earn money. So giving that into one's head, I think was the biggest challenge. And after that, the challenges were getting good people, as in people with ideas, to get them to uh, reveal that idea to us. So the common problem that I would see is most of people do not want to share their idea; they would steal it. And we had to create that trust among people. Look, this is your own very own idea. We won't be stealing it. We are an enabler, and we provide you the platform and the support team, the tools, etc. So you could build and try out and see. So the second part was the trust, and third and the final one, I would want to emphasize is that the creating a sustainable ecosystem. That was the third part. because running with 2 or 3 people and trying to trying to sort of get people on board is really hard for about 2 or 3 people, and to support them even at 1 a.m. at night or 2 a.m. at night, that was a bit hard. So what we had to do was get the ecosystem or the developer community to help the community itself. So that was the third challenge that I would see as the 3 main challenges that we had to face in terms of bringing the ecosystem into the play.
No, but that's great in terms of just highlighting. I think particularly trust, but then the support it takes in essentially maintaining the ecosystem. Because it's not something that you just grow and grow and grow. It's something that you go through a growth phase, and then there's a maintenance phase, and especially around the quality of the ideas. And one of the things that's always impressed me is the work that you've done in addressing universities, addressing businesses, addressing many different segments of the Sri Lankan market to educate and promote not just your APIs, but also the fact that you have because that's Ideamart Pro, you also have the ability for non-coders to come in, particularly business people, and they can start to integrate messaging, alerting, calendaring, all that cool stuff to help them run their business over SMS and USSD with very little skills required.
So there as well, there are 2 parts, as you correctly mentioned. There are pro applications, which is the Idea Pro for developers and Idea Apps for the non-developers. So the capability for the non-developers was to create SMS-based applications. So to give you a small statistics, so far with us, if you take as a ratio of the Idea Apps and the Idea Pro, the Idea Apps would be around would take about 65 to 70%, and it's about 30% which lies on the hands of the developers or Idea Pro.
And it's simply a numbers game, because there's a limited number of developers with those skills, yet you make it so easy that anybody with basic web skills can do it. You expand the market by orders of magnitude. So that's a very good point. Cool. So moving on to the next question. I find some people discount your success. I promote it, but I find some people just, it's the Western markets that, they're the inevitable end state for all such initiatives, which I find quite annoying. How have you succeeded where others have failed?
Yes, that's actually human nature, Alan. That's to say. Those guys just don't do things. It's just us. So that's completely understandable. But as I said to you, when we started back in 2012, we saw that there were multiple platforms or ecosystem being built and fallen down. What we really didn't focus is that what we really focus was how we could take this particular ecosystem to the Sri Lankan market. So we wanted to localize it, make it friendly, to make it we actually understood how a developer's mindset would work in Sri Lanka, how a non-developer, a business person mindset would work in Sri Lanka. So we adapted ourselves. Even there's a story behind my boss, who's Roshan Gardia. He mentions about that when he was starting off with Ideamart, there was a bunch of university students who came and met him on a Monday, and he was wearing his attire as very formal with a tie and everything. And they have come and spoken to him, sir, and very polite and very being scared. This is very corporate, and because we are the largest telco in Sri Lanka. So he had this conversation with that attire, and on a Friday, the same team comes and talk to him in a very friendly manner. Say, Ayya in Sinhala is big brother. So big brother, I have an idea, I want to reveal it. He was just amazed. to see what was the reason to have this transformation. Then we understood that if you want to sort of build that trust, build that friendship, you need to go into that level. And also, most of the cases, what we did was we didn't hide behind the screens. We went out and spoke to developers one on one, even though it could be the manager who's managing, it could be the smallest guy who's managing, it could be the intern. It doesn't matter. We have very flat structure where we go and talk to each and everyone, try to build their ideas come alive. So so that's something that we think as the turning point for Ideamart. And another thing is that we have a very active Facebook community. So most of the cases, what we don't see is that people tend to think, okay, Facebook is an informal place to have a conversation for a telco, but we don't want to happen, because we know that for a fact a lot of people use Facebook. So why don't we take that channel and to support them? And the most of the times, uh, even someone posts a question at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., doesn't matter what time, we just go and answer their question, open up the laptop and try to help them out. So that has created a big impact where it doesn't take a lot of time, as in if someone puts up a query and it takes about 1 or 2 hours to answer, not really, we just answer them and then and there. Or else if we go to the community page, we'll see that another person have already helped that person out.
Yep.
So that's sort of a cultural difference, or a process that we have, which made the turning point.
I think that is a very important point, is you're approaching people at a human level. It's not, people go into this weird corporate mode, especially if they've been at a telco for a long time. They talk in very abstract ways. There is that sort of standoffishness, and it's just approaching people, building that one-on-one relationships. And it takes time. In 2012, as you said, it was only a few developers you had on, and it took time. 18 months, 2 years, it was still, you could say, well, is this success or not? But the key is you stood with it, you built the relationships up, and it's just a snowball. After a certain point, the snowball is so big that each revolution just takes it off to a completely different plane of operation.
Definitely. So what we want to show was, we are an enabler, and we are there to help you out. This is for you, and we are providing for you to uplift.
Great. Now, how important are partners like Senid Mobile to your success?
Definitely. Senid Mobile being a very crucial partner, because they provide the underlying platform for the Ideamart, and they're being very supportive in terms of when it comes to platform level support required. We have been very keen and helping out in many ways to get it going. And also we have had joint meetings where we try to find out the ideas, where we find to see, okay, what sort of idea could disrupt the market and can be taken it for. So they have been very helpful. And the other best part is that this is how we started with Ideamart. But as you could see, this has been limited to only one country. By looking at the success of us, what the parent company of Dialog, or the Axiata, what they did was they replicated all across the partner countries. So that has been massive. And what we have done is that we have helped or created a hub where people could come, anyone who are interested, the platform providers to come and plug it in, so that we create a massive ecosystem. So that people in Sri Lanka could help out the people in another country, or another country people could help out in people in Sri Lanka. So that has been amazing.
No, absolutely. I think that's a very important part as it grows broader across the group. And I think, with TADHack, which we partnered together for many years now, Sri Lanka has always been the outperforming, the star. If you want to see the the locations with the most registrations, it's Sri Lanka. But what surprised me this year is with MTN in both Zambia and South Africa. We're seeing now, we have to add both together, but if we add both of those countries together, we're starting to see similar numbers to Sri Lanka. Now, of course, there's big differences in sizes of countries, but we're starting to see the model, the template you've created, not just expanding across Axiata Group, but we're seeing other groups taking that model and building that one-on-one engagement with the local developer community. And that's, I think, is something that you can't stress enough. It's not trying to import the Bay Area culture or how Bay Area dev relations work. It's got to be right for the local country.
Yeah, that's true enough. To comment on that, actually GSMA was very keen on the process or the things that we've been doing in Sri Lanka. And what they did was they wrote about us and mentioning in emerging markets, these guys have done this kind of success, and trying to work hand in hand to find out how we could expand into other countries to help out to other telcos, also to disrupt the markets as we have done in Sri Lanka.
Oh yeah,
That has
absolutely. Yep, I know the report well. I remember some of the initial conversations we had in terms of where are the successes, and they sort of said, well, here are the people you need to be talking to. So that was a nice report. That was a good one. What are some of the hot apps and services on Ideamart at the moment?
Yeah, with Ideamart, the hot apps that we have is let me mention about the startups also, which has came across because of Ideamart, purely based on Ideamart. So we have, I think, in 2014, Ruan Disanayake from Extragene, he was there at TADSummit, and that he was the star who started off, and from there onwards, actually the generations actually started on picking up the ideas, and actually that's the hot apps that we have at the moment would range from small SMS template-based applications to highly complicated Idea Pro sort of application. So let me share a few success stories as well. There's one startup called SenseMate, who was part of TADHack in 2014, and those guys are startup now, SenseMate. So they are a IoT-based company. So what they have done is they have built small devices and they sell it to farmers where they could, you know about it. Yes, they were the ones who built, the sprinkler system, and they have gone into a next level and to provide services as a startup. So that's one thing. And we see 18-year-old or 16-year-old kids building applications on top of Ideamart, just schooling. And some people, what they do is, people with ideas, they hire these 16-year-old kids to build the application that they want, and those guys are making millions at the same time, where we have seen kids who are just after their college starting off their businesses. That's massive. And one more success story to share is that that's an 18-year-old student. He hasn't still done his advanced level examination. He came to one of our programs and he learned about Ideamart, and he built an application. There was a growth about 25,000 per month, but what we do is we gather them on a monthly basis to encourage them to say, hey, look, your application has a potential of making millions, or it could be billions. So why don't you start off when these are the tools that you can use? After 3 months, this guy comes to our office and say, Aya or Big Brother, Thank you for the advices that you gave to me 3 months back. Now I make 1 million Sri Lankan rupees per month.
Excellent. Excellent.
Those been very sentimental and very heart touching as well, because some students comes and say, because of the money that I make, I was able to feed my family. I was able to buy a sari for my mother. So very touching stories. So we have a lot of hot apps in all apps.lk. So that has been amazing.
Cool. No, they're great stories. Again, it's all about the people, and that story gets propagated across the ecosystem. And of course, it spurs that desire to sort of for that entrepreneurial drive, because there's lots of these stories always emerging. So just quickly, as we're coming up on time, what are some of your plans for the future of Ideamart?
Yes. So the plan for the future, one has been executed already, where we wanted to send out at least one team to Silicon Valley. So we managed to do it through TADHack. So that team will be flying to Silicon Valley in another week's time, competing with 14 more global startups to win the ultimate title. So we hope very best to them. So the idea is to get not only stick to one place, the developers not only stick to one place, but to spread across the world, go into other markets and grab that opportunity and build some really great companies in which will show them the potential that we have.
Exactly.
And so that's one thing. And the second one is the partnerships with other telcos. So we recently partnered up with Hutchinson Telecom in Sri Lanka. So those guys have exposed their services onto the platform so that people could create the applications, even though they don't they do not require to have another platform, but they can expose services so that the whole community could build on top of that. So we are working on getting more and more partners on board so that we could slowly grow through the platforms or the horizontal layers. So
Excellent.
that's
Excellent. That I think is going to be, I know quite a few people at TADSummit when you present there will want to have a discussion with you around the business models associated with those partnerships. So I think you're going to be quite busy at TADSummit.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
This is excellent. Again, thanks so much, Shafraz, for taking the time out of your schedule to just give us a teaser of some of the things that you're going to be presenting at TADSummit. So again, looking forward to catching up face-to-face. And again, thanks so much.
Thank you.